feeling like Jackie Robinson, rocking a 42 in my Dodger fit, gripping the arm that was just like my pitch, crowd the opposite.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another 1 by 1 year video. Today is day 76 and we're reading chapter 7, 8, and 9 of the Judges. This looks a little bit long, but we'll see we can do it. Chapter 7. So Jerubbaal, that is Gideon, and his army got up early and went as far as the spring of Harod. The armies of Midian were camped north of them in the valley near the hill of Moreh. The Lord said to Gideon, "You have too many warriors with you. If I let all of you fight the Midianites, the Israelites will boast to me that they saved themselves by their own strength. Therefore tell the people, whoever is timid or afraid may leave this mountain and go home." So 22,000 of them went home, leaving only 10,000 who were willing to fight. But the Lord told Gideon, "There are still too many. Bring them down to the stream, and I will test them to determine who will go with you and who will not." When Gideon took his warriors down to the water, the Lord told him, "Divide the men into two groups. In one group put all those who cup water in their hands and lap it up to their tongues, like dogs, and the other group who put all those who kneel down and drink their mouths in the stream. Only 300 of the men drank from their hands. All the others got down on their knees and drank with their mouths on the stream." And as you can see, that is our picture of the day. It is the people on their knees drinking straight from the thing, and the people that picked it up and drank it from their mouths. The Lord told Gideon, "With these 300 men I will rescue you and give you victory over the Midianites. Send all the others home." So Gideon collected the provisions and rams' horns of all of the other warriors and sent them home, but he kept the 300 men with him. The Midianite camp was in the valley just below Gideon. That night the Lord said, "Get up, go down into the Midian camp, for I have given you victory over them. But you are afraid to attack. But if you are afraid to attack, go down to the camp with your servant Puah. Listen to what the Midianites are saying, and you will be greatly encouraged. Then you will be eager to attack." So Gideon took Puah and went down to the edge of the enemy camp. The armies of the Midian and Amalekites and the people of the east that had settled in the valley like a swarm of locusts. Their camels were like grains of sand on the seashore, too many to count. Gideon crept up just as a man was telling his companions about a dream. The man said, "I had this dream, and I am in my dream. A loaf of barley bread came tumbling down into the Midianite camp. It hit a tent, turned it over, and knocked it flat." His companion answered, "Your dream can mean only one thing. God has given Gideon, son of Joash, the Israelite, victory over Midian and all its armies." When Gideon heard the dream and its interpretation, he bowed in worship before the Lord. Then he returned to the Israelite camp and shouted, "Get up, for the Lord has given us victory over the Midianite hordes." He divided the 300 men into three groups and gave each man a ram's horn and a clay jar with a torch in it. Then he said to them, "Keep your eyes on me. When I come to the edge of the camp, do just as I do. As soon as I and those with me blow the ram's horns, blow your horns too all around the entire camp, and shout for the Lord and for Gideon." It was just after midnight, after the changing of the guard, when Gideon and the 100 men with him reached the edge of the Midianite camp. Suddenly they blew the ram's horns and broke their clay jars. Then all three men blew their horns and broke their jars. They held the blazing torches in their left hand and the horns in their right hands, and they all shouted, "A sword for the Lord and for Gideon." Each man stood at his position around the camp and watched as all the Midianites rushed around in panic, shouting as they ran to escape. When the Israelites blew their rams' horns, the Lord caused the warriors in the camp to fight against each other with their swords. Those who were not killed fled to to places as far as Beth Shittah near Zerah, and to the border of Abel Meholah near Tabath. Then Gideon sent for the warriors of Naphtali, Asher, and Messiah, who joined in chasing the army of Midian. Gideon also sent messengers throughout the hill country of Ephraim, saying, "Come down to attack the Midianites, cut them off at the shallow crossing of the Jordan River at Beth Barah." So all the men of Ephraim did as they were told. They captured Oreb and Zeb, the two Midianite commanders, killing Oreb at the rock of Oreb and Zeb at the winepress of Zeb. And they continued to chase the Midianites. Afterward, the Israelites brought the heads of Oreb and Zeb to Gideon, who was by the Jordan River. Chapter 8. Then the people of Ephraim asked Gideon, "Why have you treated us like this, or this way? Why didn't you send us when you first went out to fight the Midianites?" And they argued heatedly with Gideon. But Gideon replied, "What have I accomplished compared to you? Aren't even the leftover grapes of Ephraim's harvest better than the entire crop of my little clan of Abiezer? God gave you victory over Oreb and Zeb, the commanders of the Midianite army. What have I accomplished compared to that?" When the men of Ephraim heard Gideon's answer, they argued, or their anger subsided. Gideon then crossed the Jordan River with his 300 men, and though exhausted, they continued to chase the enemy. When they reached Succoth, Gideon asked the leaders of the town, "Please give my warriors some food. They are very tired. I am chasing Zebah and Zalmunna, the kings of Midian." But the officials of Succoth replied, "Catch Zebah and Zalmunna first, and then we will feed your army." So Gideon said, "After the Lord gives me victory over Zebah and Zalmunna, I will return to tear your flesh with the thorns and barriers or bearers from the wilderness." From there Gideon went up to Peniel and again asked for food, but he got the same answer. So he said to the people of Peniel, "After I return in victory, I will tear down this tower." But this time Zebah and Zalmunna were in Karkor with 15,000 warriors. All that remained of the allied armies in the east, for 120,000 had already been killed. Gideon circled around by the caravan route east of Noah and Jogbeha, taking the Midianite army by surprise. Zebah and Zalmunna, the two Midianite kings, fled, but Gideon chased them down and captured all their warriors. After this, Gideon returned from the battle by way of Harris Pass. There he captured a young man from Succoth and demanded that he write down the names of all the servants, all of the 77 officials and elders in the town. Gideon then returned to Succoth and said to the leaders, "Here are Zebah and Zalmunna. When we were here before, you taunted me, saying, 'Catch Zebah and Zalmunna first, and then we will feed your exhausted army.'" Then Gideon took the elders of the town and taught them a lesson, punishing them with thorns and briars from the wilderness. He also tore down the tower of Peniel and killed all the men in the town. Then Gideon asked Zebah and Zalmunna, "The men you killed at Tabor, what were they like? Like you," they replied. "They all had the look of a king's son. They were my brothers, the sons of my own mother," Gideon exclaimed. "As surely as the Lord lives, I wouldn't kill you if you hadn't killed me." Turning to Jether, his oldest son, he said, "Kill them." But Jether did not draw his sword, for he was only a boy and was afraid. Then Zebah and Zalmunna said to Gideon, "Be a man, kill us yourself." So Gideon killed them both and took the royal ornaments from the necks of their camels. Then the Israelites said to Gideon, "Be our ruler, and you and your son and your grandson will be our rulers, for you have rescued us from Midian." But Gideon replied, "I will not rule over you, nor will my son. The Lord will rule over you. However, I do have one request, that each of you give me an earring from the plunder you collected from your fallen enemies." The enemies being Israelites all wore gold earrings. "Gladly," they replied. They spread out a cloak, and each one threw in a gold earring he had gathered there from plunder. The weight of the gold earring was 43 pounds, not including the royal ornaments and pendants, the purple clothing worn by the kings of Midian, or the chains around the necks of their camels. Gideon made a sacred ephod from the gold and put it in Ophrah, his hometown. But soon as the Israelites prostituted themselves by worshiping it, and it became a trap for Gideon and his family. That is the story of how the people of Israel defeated Midian, which never recovered throughout the rest of Gideon's lifetime, about 40 years. There was peace in the land. Then Gideon, son of Joshua, returned home. He had 70 sons born to him, for he had many wives. He also had a concubine in Shemech, who gave birth to a son whom he named Abimelech. Gideon died when he was very old, and he was buried in the grave of his father Joash at Ophram, in the land of the clan of Abiezer. As soon as Gideon died, the Israelites prostituted themselves by worshipping the images of Baal, making Baal Bether their god. They forgot the Lord their God, who had rescued them from all their enemies surrounding them, nor did they show any loyalty to the family of Jerubbaal, that is Gideon, despite all the good he had done for Israel. Chapter 9. One day Gideon's son Abimelech went to Shemech to visit his uncles, his mother's brothers. He said to them and to the rest of his mother's family, "Ask the leading citizens of Shemech whether they want to be ruled by all 70 of Gideon's sons or by one man. And remember that I am your own flesh and blood." So Abimelech's uncles gave his message to all the citizens of Shemech on his behalf. And after listening to his proposal, the people of Shemech decided in favor of Abimelech because he was their relative. They gave him 70 silver coins from the temple of Baal Bether, or Berith, which he used to hire some reckless troublemakers who agreed to follow him. He went to his father's home at Ophrah, and there on one stone they killed all 70 of his half-brothers, the sons of Gideon. But the youngest brother, Jotham, escaped and hid. Then all the leading citizens of Shemech and Beth Millo called a meeting under the oak beside the pillar at Shemech and made Abimelech their king. When Jotham heard about this, he climbed to the top of Mount Gerizim and shouted, "Listen to me, citizens of Shemech. Listen to me if you want God to listen to you. Once upon a time, the trees decided to elect a king. First they said to the olive tree, 'Be our king.' But the olive tree refused, saying, 'Should I quit producing the olive oil that blessed both God and people, just to wave back and forth over the trees?' Then they said to the fig tree, 'Be our king.' But the fig tree also refused, saying, 'Should I quit producing my sweet fruit just to wave back and forth over the trees?' Then they said to the grapevine, 'Be our king.' But the grapevine also refused, saying, 'Should I quit producing the vine that cheers both God and the people just to wave back and forth over the trees?' Then all the trees finally turned to the thorn bush and said, 'Come be our king.' And the thorn bush replied to the trees, 'If you truly want to make me your king, come and take shelter in my shade. If not, let fire come out from me and devour the the cedars of Lebanon. Jotham continued, "Now make sure you have acted honorably and in good faith by making Amalek your king, and that you have done right by Gideon and all his descendants. Have you treated him with the honor his descendants for all his accomplishments? For he fought for you and risked his life when he rescued you from the Midianites. But today you have revolted against my father and his descendants, killing his 70 sons on one stone, and you have chosen his slave woman's son, Amalek, to be your king just because he's your relative. If you have acted horribly and in good faith towards Gideon and his descendants today, then may you find joy in Amalek, and may he find joy in you. But if you have not acted good in faith, then may fire come out from Amalek and devour the leading citizens of Shemech and Beth Millo. And may fire come out from the citizens of Shemech and Beth Millo and devour Amalek." Then Jotham escaped and lived in because he was afraid of his brother Amalek. After Amalek had ruled over Israel for 3 years, God sent a spirit that stirred up trouble between Amalek and the leading citizens of Shemech, and they revolted. God was punishing Amalek for murdering Gideon's 70 sons and the children and the citizens of Shemech for supporting him in his treachery of murdering his brothers. The citizens of Shemech sent an ambush for Amalek on the hilltops and robbed everyone who passed that way. But someone warned Amalek about their plot. One day, Gal, son of Ebed, moved to Shemech with his brothers and gained the confidence of the leading citizens of Shemech. During the annual harvest festival at Shechem, held in the temple of the local god, the wine flowed freely, and everyone began cursing Amalek. Who is Amalek? Gal shouted. "He's not a true son of Shemech, so why should we be his servants? He merely is a son of Gideon, and this Zebul, and this Zebul is merely his deputy. Serve the true sons of Hamor, the founder of Shemech. Why should we serve Amalek? If I were in charge here, I would get rid of Amalek. I would say to him, 'Get some soldiers and come out and fight.'" But when Zebul, the leader of the city, heard what Gal was saying, he was furious. He sent messengers to Amalek in Arumah, telling him, "Gal, son of Ebed, and his brothers have come to live in Shemech, and now they are inciting the city to rebel against you you. Come by night with an army and hide out in the fields. In the morning, as soon as it is daylight, attack the city. When Gal and those who are with him come out against you, you can do with them as you wish." So Amalek and all his men went by night and split into 4 groups, stationing themselves around Shemech. Gal was standing at the city gates when Amalek and his army came out of hiding. When Gal saw them, he said to Zebul, "Look, there are people coming down from the hilltops." Zebul replied, "It's just the shadows on the hills that look like men." But again Gal said, "No, people are coming down from the hills, and another group is coming down the road past the diviner's oak." Then Zebul turned on him and asked, "Now where is that big mouth of yours? Wasn't it you that said, 'Who is Amalek, and why should we be his servants?' The men you mocked are right outside the city. Go out and fight them." So Gal led the leading citizens of Shemech into battle against Amalek. But Amalek chased him and many of Shemech's men he wounded and fell among the road as they retreated to the city gate. Amalek returned to Aruma, and Zebulun drove Gal and his brothers out of Semech. The next day the people of Semech went out into the fields to battle. When Abimelech heard of it, he divided his men into 3 groups and sent an ambush in the fields. When Abimelech saw the people coming out of the city, he and his men jumped up from their hiding places and attacked him. Abimelech and his group stormed the city gates to keep the men of Semech from getting back in, while Abimelech's other 2 groups cut them down in the fields. The battle went on all day before Amalek finally captured the city. He killed the people, leveled the city, and scattered salt all over the ground. When the leading citizens who lived in the tower of Shechem heard what had happened, they ran and hid in the temple of Baal-berith. Someone reported to Abimelech that the citizens had gathered in the temple, so he led his forces to Mount Zalmon. He took an axe and chopped some branches from a tree. Then he put them on his shoulder. "Quick, do as I have done," he told his men. So each of them cut down some branches, following Amalek's example. They piled the branches against the walls of the temple and set them on fire. So all the people who had lived in the tower of Semech died, about 1,000 men and women. Then Amalek attacked the town of Thebez and captured it. But there was a strong tower inside the town, and all the men and women, the entire population, fled into it. They barricaded themselves in and climbed up to the roof of the tower. Abimelech followed them to attack the tower, but as he prepared to set fire to the entrance, a woman on the roof dropped a millstone that landed on Amalek's head and crushed his skull. He quickly said to his young armor-bearer, "Draw your sword and kill me. Don't let it be said that a woman killed Amalek." So the young man ran him through with his sword, and he died. When Amalek's men saw that he died, they disbanded and returned to their homes. In this way, God punished Amalek for the evil he had done against his father by murdering his 70 brothers. God also punished the men of Semech for all their evil, so the curse of Jotham, son of Gideon, was fulfilled. Okay, that's it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys all tomorrow. Bye.
Like Jackie Robinson, rocking the 42 in my Dodger fit, gripping the arm that was just like by a pitch. Crowd the opposite, saying that I should quit, but I love the wall.